All right, Susan Ferrechio of the Washington Examiner joins us, but first let's watch this.
I guarantee that there is no political influence in any investigation conducted by the Justice Department or the FBI, not just in this case, but in any case.
And she will be
full stop, period.
And she will be treated no differently?
Guaranteed, full stop. Nobody gets treated differently when it comes to the Justice Department because nobody is above the law.
Yeah, or the IRS for that matter. Joining us now is Susan Ferrechio, Chief Congressional Correspondent for the Washington Examiner, panelist on the McLaughlin Group. Hello, Susan.
Hey, Steve.
I would imagine this is a big topic of conversation around your parts up on Capitol Hill today. You know, he always prefaces that he can't comment before he comments, whether it was Gates or whether it was Trayvon Martin or now it's this. But what are they making of his Hillary remarks?
Well, it's really interesting because, as you say, he's actually commenting on something that he said he's not going to comment on. I think the public opinion on Capitol Hill is that she will not be indicted or brought to bear responsibility for the email fiasco. Because I don't think anyone has a lot of faith in the impartiality of the Justice Department, at least from the Republican side of things. And of course, Democrats feel like there really was no crime committed. And so I think people will be pretty surprised at this point if there is an indictment of Mrs. Clinton, especially, she basically would bear out the legacy of the Obama administration. And I don't think he wants to do anything that jeopardizes legacy. So I don't think there's a huge expectation that she's going to be indicted, but I do think people believe that there will be fallout, that if there isn't an indictment, there might be a real backlash within the FBI after they've been working so hard on this case and are clearly devoting a lot of resources to it. My personal opinion is that she won't be indicted. I'd be shocked if she was indicted at this point. I think it would be very surprising. I think there are politics involved in this, and that she'll escape any punishment. She's already practically said so, that she thinks that there's going to be nothing to this.
Right, she said that over and over again. So you think DOJ won't do anything primarily or partially because they don't want to ruin Obama's legacy, and you said there'll be backlash from the FBI. So can you see agents quitting or going public and going rogue, if you will?
Well, that's the conventional wisdom, that if they work this hard and they find wrongdoing and they're told to stand down, that there might be some kind of backlash within the FBI. Some people suggested Director Comey would resign. Others have said that, as you say, there would be leaks within the FBI talking about the merits of the case. But we don't know. And also don't forget that Comey has said that there's no urgency to have this finished before the election. So, it just depends on timing, and I think that's going to be one of the big questions here, Steve. When, if anything, will we hear anything happening? And it wouldn't surprise me if this just drags on through the election, and it just remains a sort of vague mystery out there as to what might possibly happen. And if she is elected president, I don't think you'll ever see anything come of it.
Yeah, well, then she could pardon everybody around her if they get in trouble too. All right, what are you hearing about this delegate stuff? I mean, obviously these are the rules. Obviously this is the way the game is played and has been played. But I for one, I'm pretty amazed that you could win a state with votes and not get the most delegates. Or in the case of a district in Virginia, I think I read today, Trump won that district and didn't get any of the delegates in that district. And but we know what the superdelegates are doing to the Democrat side. Hillary's won more delegates over the last 8 primaries, where Sanders has won 7 of the 8. I mean, I think this is coming out publicly, and people are recognizing it, many for the first time, and I think it's breeding contempt.
Well, as you say, this is the way the game is played, and it is a game. It's a political game for both parties. Both parties control the process by which their nominee is elected. And I think the public is really paying attention this year because the candidates are attracting, Bernie Sanders and Trump are attracting people who haven't been involved in the process in a long time. And they're taking a look at this and saying, wait a second, I thought we picked the nominee. But in truth, it's historically been, the setup has been by the party elders in both parties. They set it up so that they can best control the outcome. Certainly that's true with the Democrats. We've seen Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton neck and neck. He's beat her, and she still walks away with more delegates. That happened in New Hampshire, and they've tied up with delegates even in cases where in Wyoming where he beat her, but she still got the same number of delegates. It is people use the word rigged. It's set up in a way that will help the party leaders determine the outcome, and that's certainly what you're seeing here on the Republican side in Colorado. Clearly, the Republican leaders don't want the nominee to be Donald Trump. They've hinted as much.
Well, that tweet that they put out
so
after,
of course, they're going to try to control the outcome to make sure he doesn't get the 1,237 delegates that will help him win the nomination outright. They want to stop that from happening, and I think they've been, that's what we're seeing now in the way some of these delegates are being awarded.
Yeah, absolutely. We got less than a minute. You wrote a piece about the Democrats and the Republicans, but the Republicans holding firm on the Supreme Court nominee. Some of them said they would meet with him, and then they backtracked. This isn't going anywhere, correct?
No, it's not going anywhere right now. But I would say, Steve, once November 7th rolls around, depending on the outcome of the election, I don't rule out reconsideration by Republicans. If the White House falls to Democrats, and if Republicans lose their majority in the Senate, they may say, look, we're on our way out. We're going to try to move Garland because Merrick Garland would be a more moderate choice than somebody who Hillary Clinton might pick with the liberal base pushing her for a more liberal nominee. So I'm not ruling that out, even though they've said that they won't do that.
Great to talk to you, Susan. Thank you very, very much. Susan Ferrechio, ladies and gentlemen.